Is anyone not ready? Coming out of the 2AC, they have not provided clear disadvantage to our methodology, which is a process of conscientization and a process of constant clarification of who we are, identifying ourselves in the world and taking active stance and shaping them. When we develop our critical consciousness, we gain the ability to push society, so-called reality that is shoved down our throats through commitment and compassion. We can develop our abilities to see the meanings of those things and change those meanings. This lets us redefine our lives. Our world gets bigger and we can take it apart and put back together our life. We live the places, spaces, ideas, and knowledge we live with. We can reflect more purposely and we can see things more rationally. The roles have we ever played as passive recipients of the people's perceptions of the world melt away and we become active partners within our world. The process of conscientization allows me to use my Korean identity to go against the racism, not allow it to be perpetuated and not allow that identity used to perpetuate racism and justify. I am breaking down the myth of the modern minority to take away the tool used by white supremacists. The tyranny of experience and knowledge has revealed itself to me and I have conquered it. Instead of running away, I've shown up against it and against his struggle, get defeated and reimagine that the life I've lived and the work I thought I'd done. And one of the reasons why the stereotype of the myth of the modern minority exists is because the Asian Americans believe in it, so they fall back on it. We blatantly reject it and expose the problems like that through the process of conscientization. Our performance is a speech of conscientization. We have this is the reason why we have decided to critically engage the resolution. We don't claim to solve for all forms of oppression. We claim to take down the oppressive structure of the modern minority that oppress all oppressed groups. Deconstructing the myth of the modern minority is a prerequisite for solving for any other forms of oppression, since it is the tool used by white supremacists to show that no such racism exists. Conscientization is a way to liberate oppressed groups and expose what the heck is going on. For my identity as an Asian American, conscientization is a strategy to break down civil society. Think about a civil society rationalizing any action through the myth of the modern minority, which causes white supremacists to blame other minorities like blacks for not doing as well as Asians. Even if the myth of the modern minority is not the root cause of any form of oppression, it still is a justification of the current civil society and oppression, which means that it still takes a stance against that specific form of oppression. Maybe we do not have the power to start the revolution, but this is the first step in deconstructing epistemological growth by questioning our own way and our own identity in society and how it functions. Even if there isn't only one ethical strategy, we can have different ways of getting to those strategies. They have not provided a reason why conscientization is bad and why getting rid of the tool of white supremacy is necessary bad, which is the reason you're going to vote negative. Also, they have conceded the two impacts of the one and two. First is the psychological violence of Asian Americans, especially the Southeast Asians, are always excluded from discussion in any form of welfare because of the myth perpetuates that Asians are well off in housing and education and certain rights. This is a particular reason. You can see this on case one of my partner talked about how when U.S. intervenes in Asian country, the queer women are ignored, and the queer women are ignored and shown that they do not. The queer women are ignored and the Asians are used to show psychological violence towards Southeast Asians. So you use the Asians to show that like how prosperous are the Asians in America. They're doing so well. They're doing fine. This sort of form causes psychological violence between Asians, especially Southeast Asians who do not get this sort of like welcoming welfare or help that they need. And the second impact is that the myth of the modern minority justifies the oppression of other minorities. Like, oh, look at these Asians. They're doing so well. Why can't you black or Latinos do just as well as them? So we're taking away the tool of the conscientization is a way we recognize and redefine the purpose of our life is, and not allow white supremacists to use Asians as a way to show that racism doesn't exist, or you use a tool by white supremacists to perpetuate oppression. We will take every step to resist certainty and resolution, reject a fixed notion of knowledge, reality, and method, and accept and acknowledge the complexity, question, assumption, and the presumption, and disrupt the binaries that define things as either or. Now, the link debate for the K, the link debate on this debate couldn't be more clear. I should thank the affirmative team for actually doing so, doing a lot of the link analysis for me. Masami is a direct link to the Arctic advantage. All the advantages are predicated on the idea that the U.S. hedges back. For example, manufacturing. We need manufacturing because if it declines, the U.S. hedge is going to decline, and that's going to cause extinction. We need production because U.S. needs the hegemony. We need. Also, Masumi is a really good answer. It talks about how the U.S. on the Arctic is a really good link to the Arctic advantage, because it talks about how the U.S. is securitizing logic and using that security method. I asked them in CS what the purpose of it is. Security method, Masumi specifically Mussolini specifically talks about how the affirmative is locked in a doctrine of preemptive warfare marked by response to potential threat in the future. A direct link direct link to that event is specifically talks about how the U.S. assuming that they can only prevention assumes that they assume that to assess threats empirically and identify their causes and can only be solved by them. This sort of security logic is fundamentally flawed and links back into like how U.S. hedge is really bad. Now, moving on to continuing on the link debate, 118 is really good on talking about how U.S. power. American power historically, hedge has historically been used to perpetuate white sexualism. 118 is really good on talking about how empirically when the United States went there, now it gives a specific instance about when they went there in World War II and World War II and instances in which U.S. intervention does occur in Japan. The white sexual imperialism pervades and against the Asian women and queers both through the development of prostitution industry and things such that which objectify Asian women and through their sexual abuse in those countries. Now, broader 11 is really good on talking about how United States intervention with the Asian country empirically has never actually solved for the violence experiences of the communities and have been used to further perpetuate the myth of the model minority. They will go to Asia and say, hey, look at how well these Asians are doing. There's no, look at how well the Asians are doing. It must be the fault of other minority groups that they're doing so bad in the world. So they just use, you can see how the myth of the model minority is used as a tool to perpetuate racism and show the U.S. government, U.S. federal government uses it to show that they are not racist now. Now, there's another link. 111 specifically talks about how the affirmative relies on the U.S. federal government for solvency, and that's bad because reform will inevitably lead to re-entrenchment because we're constantly in destruction. We're constantly thinking in terms of the United States federal government. We will cause error replication. We are constantly within this racist foreign structure, and so there's no way we will be able to reconceptualize how we function and what it is to deconstruct racism and stop being the tools of oppression. So, and Rodriguez 10 specifically talks about how the demands made that the USFG can be granted as a shield to arrest their atrocities. So the past policy, the continuation of the past policies worsens and worsens, like their demands for to use the myth of the model minority as as a tool for white supremacy. Now, on the perm, the 1AC is a static artifact. The permutation is severance in the 1AC raises this group avoiding issue because it makes the 1AC a moving target. It makes it impossible to form stable links. So also kills advocacy skills because we don't get to learn anything and defend anything unconditionally. That is part of the most portable debate skill. The permutation nonsensical. The case premise on the question of whether it's ethical you use USFG action or not. They have not answered that the question with a yes and a 1AC, which means that they solve none of the solvency. Now, the word queer is fine. The affirmative team should be able to read more. The affirmative team should read more literature on this topic because that is what LBGT is most professionally and formally, and we should tell Edelman that what the things that he's saying about is totally wrong because he uses the word queer.
What does hedge look like in the world of the alternative?
What do you mean the world of the alternative? Like, we don't like hedge. Hedge is bad. So why would there be a hedge in the world of the alternative?
So none at all, like, there's no other country that, like...
U.S. shouldn't intervene in Asia in this specific, we describe a specific instance because it discriminates against Asian.
So what happens to, like, U.S. hedge in the world of the alt? Does it, like, disappear? Do we, like, give up, like, our military bases? What happens? Like, I'm confused.
No, I'm just saying that the process of conscientization where we name ourselves and how racism operates under the system is a much better option than doing the plan because we have to like question. Like,
so does hedge like continue? Like if you don't if we're not perpetuating hedge through the AF and you're not doing it through the alt, is hedge just still there? Like what happens to hedge? I don't understand. Like is U.S. hedge still going to be a thing post the alt?
Yeah, it's still going to be a thing, but like.
So then, how do you solve for the impacts of the critique?
Alright. Okay. So what saying that like the hegemony or I hegemony is racist is because like we view it like hegemony was built like we view like alternative is able to solve for the racial the raciality of hegemony because like we the conscientization allows us to look at our own ourself and like critique.
So essentially you are fundamentally changing how hedge operates.
Yeah, I mean,
How?
because hedge is used to perpetuate the myth of the model minority, and that's what's
It's also
wrong.
used for like intervention and like we're missing it, or changing our mindset so we're not.
I still don't understand how, like, when you're not taking away or preventing hedge from happening in the world of the alt, how does that solve for any of the impacts of the critique?
Conscientization solves because we don't let white supremacists control us and like we deconstruct the myth of the model minority. As
So
long
do
as
we
the myth of
not
the
go
model
out and try to prevent escalation of like conflict in the Middle East anymore? Like, what do we not do?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't because U.S. military.
Does the
powers
alt
bad.
prevent hedge from doing that?
I mean, it prevents the alt is a step in deconstructing the myth of the model minority.
All right.
Okay.
Where does it do that? Because earlier you said it does that in this round, so does it still do that in this round?
Our performance, like our speech, is a performance of conscientization. So like we have.
Can you define conscientization? Just to
Yeah, it's a
clarify
process
real
of
quick?
constant clarification, understanding how the world operates under our vision, not someone else's. Critical consciousness, being critically aware of what's happening in this world.
Cool. So your process of conscientization of, I guess, deconstructing the model minority is what's going to prevent like the impacts of your critique? Like where exactly can like the
Yeah, it's gonna
AFL
stop
do
myth
this?
of the model minority from
Do
happening.
you prevent any kind of like policy action from happening?
I mean, we don't
Yeah.
need to.
Okay.